This is review for your quiz, guys. You guys ready?
Ready.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to start the recording of the video. So, all right. Yeah, I want to record this for future. Yeah. Everybody say hi. Okay. All right. Now it's over. So if I give you guys the angle of 150 degrees, would you guys be able to graph it? Yeah, you would, because you guys have been studying trigonometry for a little bit. You would know that you would have to go and stop right there, and that is where that is the quadrant that the angle is in. Now, how would we know that that is the quadrant that the angle is in? Because you know that this is 180 and this is 90 degrees, and that angle right there is between those two numbers. So then you draw your triangle, and notice how we draw the triangle. We draw the hypotenuse to go out like that. That's our terminal side. You guys remember that? And that's where the angle stops. So that's our terminal side right there. And then we draw the height. Remember, we talked a lot about height and co-height. This is the height, and this right here is the co-height. The horizontal distance is the co-height, and the vertical distance is the height. So after we get our angle, you guys should be able to do this right here. You guys remember special right triangles? Yeah? Okay. Your question is, what triangle are we working with? It's either going to be the 30-60-90, the 60-30-90, or the 45-45-90. You guys remember those triangles, the special right triangles? That's also known as the reference angle. What's our reference angle for this one right here? We know it's 30 because if we took 150 and we added 30, then we would get to 180. So we know that that's a 30-degree angle. And because we know that's a 30-degree angle, we know that this side is rad 3 over 2, and we know that this side is 1/2. Okay, you guys know this stuff. Okay, so after that, you now can find the sine of 150 degrees. So what would a sine of 150 degrees be for this triangle? 1/2. That'd be the height. Okay, cool. So we'd put that guy down, and then what about the cosine of 150 degrees? What would that be? Rad 3 over 2. But how come it's negative? Because this co-height counts out to the left, and we know that the x's are negative over there. So we should also have a negative right there on our triangle to make sure we don't make mistakes. Okay, so after we have our sine and cosine, would you guys be also able to find a tangent of 150 degrees?
1/2 over.
Do you guys remember what tangent is? Yeah, you guys remember what SOHCAHTOA is? You guys learned that in geometry. It was an acronym to help you guys remember that tangent is opposite side divided by the adjacent side, which is sine divided by cosine. So we say 1/2 divided by rad 3 over 2, which is the same as saying 1/2 times 2 over rad 3, which would give you 1 over rad 3. Are we supposed to keep that as with a radical on the bottom? Not in trigonometry. So we multiply top and bottom by rad 3 over rad 3, and that's what gives us rad 3 over 3. Now this answer isn't right now. Do you guys know why this answer is not correct? I forgot that this rad 3 over 2 is negative. So my answer should be negative. Alright, so now I know that my answer is negative. I got my sine, cosine, tangent. What about our reciprocal functions? You guys remember these guys? No. Can we find our reciprocal functions? These guys are secant, cosecant, and cotangent. Whoa. Was that a sneeze? That sounded like a bark. That was.
It started and then it stopped.
Yeah. Whoa. That's going down in my stories. I'm gonna remember that one.
You got that on video.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, what is the reciprocal function of secant?
1 over cosine.
That is 1 over cosine. Wait, 1 over cosine, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at cosine here. So we need the reciprocal of cosine. The reciprocal of cosine is 2 over rad 3. And don't forget, it is negative. And then we're going to multiply top and bottom by rad 3 to get 2 times rad 3 over 3. And there's the multiplying by rad 3 over rad 3. You guys, okay, is this all seeming familiar to you guys? All this review?
Yeah.
I hope so. So now, what about cosecant? Cosecant is the reciprocal of? Sine. So what's the reciprocal of 1/2? Oh, that one's I love those ones. Yeah, that's just 2. Okay, oh, I almost forgot the negative on that one. So that one's 2. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So you could take this guy right here and flip him. But then you would have a radical in the denominator, right? And then you'd have to simplify it some more. Now, you guys see this 1 over rad 3 right here?
Yes.
That 1 over rad 3 is the same as this. So this actually would be nicer to flip. Because if we flip that, we won't have to do any more work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip that. I get rad 3. And that's supposed to be a negative as well. Looks like I didn't write negative on there, so I better write negative. All right. So let's try another angle before we move on to something else. What about negative 180 degrees? Now, because it's negative, which direction do we go when we graph it?
To the right.
To the right, which is clockwise. So I'm going to go this way, and I stop right there at the 180 degree side, terminal side. But I can't draw a triangle because I'm on the x-axis. So how do I do this? Well, what you do is you should remember the coordinates of that terminal side right there. So let's put a point right there and write down our coordinates. In the unit circle, that would be our coordinates, right? -1, 0. Above here, we actually, if you remember the coordinates, you don't really need the triangle because the triangle is the same as the coordinates. So look, this is what the coordinates would look like up here. You would have rad 3 over 2, negative rad 3 over 2, and then 1/2. And then we can just use those to find all of our answers over here. So we can use these right here to find all of our answers over here. So, up here, sine was the height. The height is the y. So what's my sine for this angle? What is sine of negative 180 degrees?
0.
It is 0. Okay, what about cosine?
1. Negative.
That is -1. That's because up here, cosine is the negative rad 3 over 2, which is the x value. The x value in this one is -1. So what about tangent? Tangent is the opposite divided by adjacent. Remember how we divided over here? Or you can say sine divided by cosine. So I have sine right here. I'm going to divide it by cosine. What is that going to equal? What is 1 divided by -1? Now, if you've been practicing this or been even half paying attention, you know that your answer is going to be 0 or undefined. But how do I know which is which?
It's 0.
Let's see.
0 is on top.
Yeah, because the 0 is on top, we say it's 0. And that, you can actually divide a 0 by -1. You get 0. So that's your answer for that one. Very good, very good. Okay, now what about our reciprocal functions? We have our secant, our cosecant, and our cotangent. Now, up above, we reminded ourselves that secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So, what is the reciprocal of -1? Well, -1 right now is not a fraction, but if I make him into a fraction, it would be -1 over 1. And then if I flip that, it would be 1 over -1. But what is 1 divided by -1? That is just -1. 1 is actually the only number, 1 and -1, that you can take the reciprocal of and you just get the same thing. So now we have cosecant. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, and sine is 0. Let's make that one into a fraction, 0 over 1. Now if I flip that one, it would be 1 over 0, which you guys know as undefined. Bam. And check out cotangent right here. Look at tangent. Tangent is also 0, just like sine. So what would you say cotangent is going to be?
Undefined.
That one also is undefined. So that's a review on how to graph the angles, and then how to use those angles or the coordinates that you get or the triangle to find all your trigonometric values.